as your graphic says there, Lauren James, she got the first goal after about 12 minutes. Bit unfortunate, I think it was crossing into the box. A header from one of the English defenders hit off one of Anna Patton's knee. I just felt perfectly for Lauren James. She buried it 1-0. And that sort of put a dampener on the crowd, quieting the crowd. And England just sort of took over. They were passing. The passing was sharper. They were crisper. They were playing higher up the pitch. They pressed Ireland. Basically, the English centre backs were on pretty much the halfway line. Anytime Ireland got out, there was literally no one to pass it to because they were just squeezed up. The pressure was a lot, and England just had complete control of the game in the first half. All the possession, all the chances. And to be fair, the second goal was, I wouldn't say it was coming because England were comfortable enough, but the second goal came after a penalty. Russia Littlejohn. Now, people might say it's a bit harsh, but I can see why the referee gave it. To be fair, I think the hand is out a little bit, and particularly, I think there was no VAR last night in the women's game. But once the referee made the decision, there was no chance of it being overturned. So I think it was Greenwood that took the penalty. It was a bit spicy as a centre back, but she took the penalty well. Sent Courtney Brosnan the wrong way. 2-0 up. We were thinking we're in for a long night here, and literally about less than 10 minutes later or more, England got a third penalty. I think that one was very harsh, I thought, to be fair. I think it was crossed into the box. I think Alessia Russo touched it. Louise Quinn was literally right beside her. I think it hit off Russo's boot, and it hit off the arm of Louise Quinn. I honestly, God, Paul, don't think she could do anything else.
No, just can I come in there now before you move on? I suppose when I was growing up, there was a thing known as ball to hand. It wasn't the penalty, but the ball could flip up and hit you in the hand. But again, the rules have changed so much in relation to penalties, handballs, offside over the recent years. So I don't know what the actual rule is. But one time, and that isn't too long ago, it was known as ball to hand was not a penalty. So several times the ball would hit the player on the hand, the defender on the hand, but it wasn't the penalty. It was called ball to hand. It was play on, but I don't know if the rules changed. So just continue on then.
It's very, very complicated, Paul. People just don't seem to know what handball is anymore. I'll give you an example. I know it's a different topic, but there was a certain penalty in the Leeds United game, in the men's game there last night, where it was a definite handball and the referee missed it, and of course there was no VAR in it, but penalties are given for unintentional handball, if you get me. Like, there was literally, I don't think Louise Quinn said to the referee, what am I supposed to do? There was literally her arm was down by her side. It was a cross into the box. They were both challenging for the ball. I don't know, was it her boot or Russo's boot that got it, but definitely clipped her elbow, or maybe just a little bit lower. And honestly, God, there's no way I think she could put her hands, because when you're running and when you're tackling, your hand has to be somewhere down by your body.
And you have to balance yourself. Like, if you're tackling for the ball, your two hands are there to balance yourself, and to get in the right position. You're trying to,
I thought it was very, very harsh, Paul. But look, the referees are under such pressure from UEFA and in the men's and the women's game, but certain rules have to be followed. And the referee probably felt that, look, like last year, it mightn't even been given, if you get me. Like, the rules, as you said yourself, the rules have been changing so much. There's been penalties that have been given in the Champions League, women's game, international men's games that are comical sometimes, Paul, to be quite honest with you.
But I thought that one was very harsh. And you just move on to the penalty then, and what happened?
Greenwood took our second penalty, sent the keeper. The keeper actually went the right way this time. It was a different. She put it to the keeper's right in the first one. She sent it to the keeper's left, but Courtney Brosnan went the right way. And lucky enough for Ireland, it just hit the post. And lucky enough, it went across the goals without the other end. And lucky it didn't hit Courtney Brosnan on the way out, because if it hit Courtney Brosnan, it could have reflected in for an own goal. So that was the break we got. But England were comfortable enough for the rest of the first half, to be quite honest with you, Paul. And there was a graphic then after about, which I suppose told the story of the game, really, to be quite honest with you. After it was 70 minutes, I think graphic came up, total attempts 0-9. So England had complete control. We made a few subs. We got higher up the pitch, making Campbell with our long throws, a bit like Rory Delap, if you remember Rory Delap back in the old days.
Rory Delap, was it the Derby County or Southampton or one of those teams?
It was, I think he played for Southampton and he played for Stoke, and that's when he played for Stoke. Stoke City, that's when, and she's as good as him, because there's literally any time past in certain parts into the English half, she did a few throws. She came on and it caused a bit of carnage for England. And look, in the last 20 minutes, England were saying, look, Serena Wigman said in an interview, we didn't keep the ball well enough in the last 20 minutes. Ireland finally were able to get in the footholds in their half, bit of long ball, free kicks, throw-ins, corner kicks. The there's nothing wrong with the old traditional way of
blood and guts. No, they call it blood and guts.
Blood and guts, and we had to do something, Paul, because we were getting. It was too comfortable for England. I know. Look, their class they totally outclassed us for about 70 minutes, and that's no shame either, because England are much. They have a professional league. I think even in Darty, pundit said after the game, they're at least 10 years ahead in development. I would even go further than that. They've got a professional league. They've got a bigger pool of players to pick from. So England are sort of at a level where we can aspire to, and probably might never get to. And that's no shame either, because we're a small country, and we punch it above our weight in terms of the way the game has been for the last 10, 15 years. Like a good couple of years ago, Paul, England will come and this wouldn't be shown on television, for example. This definitely wouldn't be playing in the Aviva, and England would probably hammer us. That shows the development, certainly in the last 5 to 6 years, or even more, that the women's game has seen. But getting back to the game, there was a chance, there was a free kick, was played around to the back post. Louise Quinn sort of slid in, ball went across the box, and unfortunately was just behind Caitlin Hayes, and England were able to get scrambled out for the corner kick. There was a chance where Caitlin Hayes had a header. Well, it was she couldn't do much with it, Paul, to be honest with you. She got it on target, the keeper saved it. And then probably the other big chance we had was where the English keeper was taking all day when she ever caught the ball. She was going to kick it out, and lucky enough for Ireland, Katie McCabe actually blocked her kick out. It wasn't like an initial kick out. It was like one of those, when she catches the ball, she can handle it and kick it out. But Katie McCabe thought she was taking all day trying to clear her. She ran up to her, and eventually she actually got lucky enough, she got a block. And then it was the ball actually hit Katie McCabe. Could have gone anywhere, Paul. It sort of went to an angle of the goal. I thought Katie McCabe should have squared it. I think McCabe sometimes can be. I mean, they sometimes say the strikers can be a bit mean, a bit one-sided. I think if Katie McCabe got her head up, there was a ball to Lane Kearney. She was running into the box. I think she should have squared it, because I think the angle that she shot, she hits it straight to keep. And I think if McCabe was on the other foot, McCabe would be actually going ape. I won't say the second word, but yeah, I thought that was a moment where McCabe should have squared it, Lane Kearney, and we could have got back into the game. But to summarise the game, to be honest with you, Paul, no disgrace, Paul. We all said that probably England would probably win this game. I said maybe 2-1 early yesterday, because I felt England, they needed to win this game. England said we have to win this game to get back into competition in the group. France have won their first 2 games. They beat Sweden in the other game against Sweden. I think Sweden were at home, if I'm not mistaken. So England are probably chasing France now to get top spot. I know the first 2 go through automatically, but England will probably see themselves as the best team in this group and being European champions. They expect to finish first, so this was the result they needed, and they came and got the 3 points, and they move on. But yeah, I think good occasion to over 32,000 people there, Paul, nearly just under 33,000. Great atmosphere for them. It was, it's our second game, obviously, from the Northern Ireland game in the Nations League last year. They played the 1-3-0. So it's stepping stones and it's improvement all the time. I think because the Aviva is unavailable, I think for the home game against France. I think the Swedish game is the next game they'll play in the Aviva. But look, it's building blocks. We're coming from a very low base, Paul. But to have the game in the Aviva and to get the crowd they deserve it. And look, it's a very tough group, as we said. We thought initially, but certainly I didn't know, that we'd be lucky to get a point in this group. But I have more encouragement. But the class between the teams, between Ireland and the rest of them, it's there to see, Paul, unfortunately. But look, they've been developing, as I said, football and women's games for years. They all 3 teams, I think, have a professional league. We don't, and sadly, that's not probably going to change anytime soon. We don't have a professional league for the men's, so to have a professional league in Ireland, fully professional and functioning, a professional league in soccer in Ireland, is probably not, well, it hasn't happened for the men's. So I doubt it's going to happen for the women, and that's not having to go at the women's game. That's having to go to all structure in Ireland in football, because we know about the FAI, they're in debt. Their organisation that still hasn't sorted out their senior men's manager, has been over 4 months now. So you just don't. It's not the trust in the people on the ground. It's more the trust in the organisation that to get a league that's functioning, that can be professional and can grow the game. And that's where the doubts are.
Yeah, I suppose 2 points there. Number one, just back to the match. I reminded of the great Wimbledon team, and we know Joe Kinnear passed away, died there during the
Yeah.
week. But when he was in charge of them, they were in the old first division in the shots of the Premiership, and they used to upset all the top teams with this throwing in the long ball but that's a legitimate tactic in the game. And so some people kind of sneer it, but it's very easy. The English team are complete control, passing the ball around. But as soon as Ireland were on the subs and throwing in the long ball and shook it up, you see how fast the English game kind of fell apart in the last 15, 20 minutes, and you upset them. So that's something we have to do and consistently do it. I'm not saying you do it the whole time, but if necessary, it should be a tactic to have in your bag to produce himself, and there should be no apology for it. And people say, "Oh, you can't do that. He doesn't look good," and all this old tippy tappy stuff. There is no right way and there's no wrong way to play the game. We should have different tactics. And in future, and a lot of these teams now, they're playing all this tippy tappy stuff, and they're doing that at coaching. So if your players can come in and throw a long ball in from 40 yards and land it inside in the penalty square and put big players up and contest it and win the second ball, that's going to upset them. So we should always have that in our locker room itself. That's the first point. And the second point that you made there, as you said, I said in the preview, England don't have a better team, they have a better panel, they have a better squad of at least 30 players. They have stronger underage teams coming through. They're well financed. The English FA are they're well organised, unlike the FAI. Let's be clear about it. So I just hope the players are improving. There's no such thing as a model victory. It was a 2-0 defeat, but I just hope it's under 19s, under 16s, under 21s that the FAI are still investing and promoting them and maybe getting the players across to England when they come through first, maybe in the League of Ireland. So off the pitch, I hope they're still doing the investing. But on the pitch, we should not be afraid to go back to what I would call the Wimbledon tactics, because there's no right way and there's no wrong way to play the game.
Well, that's true. I mean, as you said, just your first point, like nobody should make any apologies for playing against the opposition. I mean, if you can't break down the opposition and you're having a bad day, well, tough. That's not the opposition's fault. It's just your inability to break them down and score goals. They call it parking the bus, Paul, for a phrase. But you should look. No team. There's no right way or wrong way to play football. It's the winning way. If you can win games, doing what you're doing, fine. There's no harm in that. There's no disgrace in that. I think, as you said yourself, yes. I think underage now and investment, as we were saying earlier, that's the key now for women's football. They've come so far, but now can they go on to the next step? And that's qualifying for tournaments on a regular basis. Now we've got to the World Cup. We're obviously in League A now in the European Championship qualifiers. We're a very, very tough group. We're probably going to either, the best we could hope for is probably finishing third. We're more likely going to finish bottom and finish fourth. That means we're going to be into the playoff. Now, obviously, we don't. That's not being putting the team down. That's just probably a bit of realism, and that's no harm either. We felt, or certainly I felt, that we'd be lucky to get a point in this group, and I still stand by that. I do think the home games are vital, and it's a better chance, obviously, getting points in this group. But we're next up against Sweden now. I think the qualifiers are in June again, and I think we're going to look. We have 4 more games. We probably have hope that we can get some points, but being realistic, Paul, I don't like we're not going to finish in the top 2. Third, as I said, was probably our best hope, and we're more likely to finish fourth. So that's no disgrace here, and we will learn from this, Paul. I think you could tell. I think Louise Quinn said, playing in League B, she said the pace and the power and the technical ability of the teams in League A is a much higher standard, and we're now in that bracket, and it's going to be very, very tough. It's like I would compare it to maybe a team coming up from the Championship and then going into the Premier League, much tougher. The pace, it's much more physical. The pace of the game is much more quicker. You're playing against better strikers, better midfielders, tougher defenders, and so everything is harder. And that's something that we want to be at that level. And unfortunately, we're going to have to take a few defeats before we learn how to progress that and learn how to maintain it and get better in time. And I think these results, although they're defeats, they will stand to the team in good stead, because we know now that when to slow it down, concentration is huge. I think I know we're going back to a couple of days ago, but the French game, you switch off for a split second for the free kick, for example, and if you're not touch tight, you're not picking up players. very good players at this level will punish you. And England got 2 big chances in the first half, and they punished us.